Hi, kids! Welcome back to our magical corner of the world. Today, we aren't just reading a story. We are going on an adventure deep into the heart of the Golden Forest. Imagine a place where the sunlight doesn't just shine. It sparkles like millions of tiny gold coins scattered across the grass. The trees here are so tall they tickle the bellies of the clouds, and the flowers smell like wild strawberries and morning dew. In this beautiful forest lived a tiny hero named Dara. Dara was a little deer with big, curious eyes and ears that flapped whenever she was excited. She wasn't the biggest animal in the woods, and she certainly wasn't the strongest, but Dara had a secret weapon. She was incredibly clever. Every single Tuesday, Dara had a very important mission. She had to cross the Great Crystal Bridge to visit her grandmother, who lived in a cozy hollow tree on the other side. Grandmother loved the sweet purple berries that grew near Dara's home, so Dara always carried a small, hand-woven basket filled to the brim with the juicy fruit. On this particular morning, the air felt different. Usually, the forest was a noisy place, full of chattering squirrels and whistling birds. But today, the woods were as silent as a library. Not a single leaf rustled. Dara paused, her little black nose twitching. "Something is hiding," she whispered to herself. She didn't know it yet, but a very grumpy, very hungry tiger named Tabbie had decided that the Crystal Bridge would be his personal snack station for the day. As Dara approached the river, she saw something strange. Right in the middle of the path, blocking the entrance to the bridge, was a massive, bright yellow object. It looked like a boulder, but it had dark, wavy stripes running across it. And if you looked very closely, you could see the rock was breathing. Tabbie the tiger was trying to hide, but he wasn't doing a very good job. His long, striped tail was sticking out from behind a bush, twitching back and forth like a frustrated snake. Dara stopped and smiled. She knew exactly who it was. Instead of running away, she decided to have a little bit of fun. "Oh my," Dara said, speaking loudly so the rock could hear her. "What a magnificent yellow stone! I've lived in this forest my whole life, and I have never seen such a beautiful striped rock. It's a shame, though. I heard from the old owl that only the most legendary tigers have the magic power to turn into stones. This one is far too lumpy and fuzzy to be a real tiger. It's probably just a piece of old, dusty cheese." Deep inside his hiding spot, Tabbie's ears turned red. He hated being called Lumpy, and he definitely didn't want to be mistaken for cheese. He couldn't help himself. He jumped up with a loud roar that shook the berries in Dara's basket. "I am not a piece of cheese," Tabbie yelled, showing his big teeth. "I am Tabbie, the king of the river, and you are going to be my breakfast." Dara didn't flinch. She took a calm step back and looked at the tiger with a look of fake concern. "Oh, Mr. Tabbie, I would love to be your breakfast, but there's a terrible problem. You see these berries? These are magic singing berries. They are a rare delicacy, but they have a very strict rule. If you eat them, or anyone carrying them, without hearing their song first, they turn into sour lemons inside your tummy. You'll have a stomachache for 100 years. Tabbie stopped mid-prowl. He loved food, but he absolutely hated stomachaches. "Singing berries?" he asked, his golden eyes widening. "I've never heard a berry sing." "That's because they are shy," Dara explained, leaning in close. "To make them sing, you have to follow the ritual. You must stand on one leg, close your eyes very tight, and spin around in circles while humming a happy tune. Only then will the magic happen." Tabbie, being quite greedy and not very bright, believed her. He lifted one heavy paw, squeezed his eyes shut, and began to spin. 1, 2, 3. He looked ridiculous, wobbling back and forth like a giant yellow top. While Tabbie was dizzy and humming to himself, Dara took off like a lightning bolt. She zipped across the crystal bridge, her hooves clicking fast against the wood. By the time Tabbie stopped spinning and opened his blurry eyes, Dara was long gone, safely hidden in the thick ferns on the other side. Hours later, after visiting her grandmother, Dara had to head back home. She knew Tabbie would be waiting, and this time he would be even grumpier. Sure enough, as she reached the riverbank, she saw Tabbie pacing back and forth on the bridge. "No more singing! No more cheese talk!" Tabbie growled, his stomach making a loud rumbling sound. "I'm going to catch you the moment you step onto this wood." Dara looked around. She needed a new plan, and she needed it fast. Just then, she saw a familiar sight. A giant grey trunk was peeking through the trees. It was Bruno the Elephant, the strongest and kindest animal in the Golden Forest. Dara whispered her plan to Bruno, and the big elephant nodded with a playful wink. As Dara stepped onto the bridge, Tabbie lunged forward, his claws out. But suddenly, a shadow blocked the sun. Bruno stepped out from the trees, his massive feet making the ground thump. Before Tabbie could react, Bruno took a deep breath, dipped his trunk into the river, and sucked up gallons of cold water. "Hey, Tabbie!" Bruno trumpeted. "I heard you needed a bath." Sploosh! A massive jet of water hit the tiger like a tidal wave. Tabbie was lifted right off his feet. He slid across the wet, slippery wood of the bridge, yelping in surprise, and tumbled, splash, straight into the river below. Tabbie wasn't hurt, but he was very, very wet and very, very embarrassed. He paddled his paws frantically, floating downstream toward the muddy swamps, where the frogs would tease him for weeks. Dara and Bruno stood on the bridge, watching him go. "Remember, Tabbie," Dara called out, "kindness is much tastier than being a bully." The two friends walked back through the forest together, the golden leaves glowing in the sunset. Dara had learned that even if you are small, you can face the biggest giants if you stay calm and use your head. And that, dear friends, is the story of Dara the deer. It reminds us all that bravery isn't about having the sharpest claws or the loudest roar. It's about being smart, staying brave, and knowing that having a good friend by your side makes every bridge easier to cross. If you enjoyed Dara's clever tricks today, don't forget to give us a huge thumbs up. Share this story with your friends so they can learn to be brave too, and hit that subscribe button to join us for our next magical journey. Until next time, keep dreaming and stay curious. Bye-bye!